They have millions of dollars and huge mansions with 10 showers, yet some of these celebrities refuse to use a single one. We have got the stories of the A-listers who allegedly reek of sweat and onions. One rapper even claimed his natural scent was a manly musk, but his ex-wife called it something much worse. One Flavor Flav. You see the big clock hanging around his neck and you think about time. But people who have been around this public enemy icon say the only thing on their mind was how much time they had before they could escape the smell. Flavor Flav is a legend in the rap game and reality television. However, rumors have followed him for decades that his hygiene is not exactly top priority. When he was filming the hit show, Flavor of Love, cameras caught everything, and that included some very questionable habits. We are talking about a man who lived in a house full of women fighting for his attention. Yet reports surfaced that his breath was strong enough to clear a room. It is a condition the medical world calls halitosis, but on the set, they just called it unbearable. What many overlooked is that Flav has a signature style. He wears heavy clothes and huge jewelry. That clock is not light. Carrying that weight around under hot studio lights makes a person sweat. The thing nobody tells you is that gold and brass chains can react with sweat. It creates a metallic, tangy smell that sticks to the skin. Now imagine that mixed with the fact that sources claimed he was not fond of washing his hair. Dreadlocks and braids look cool, but they require serious maintenance to keep fresh. If moisture gets trapped inside the hair, it starts to mildew. It smells like a wet towel left in a gym bag for a week. There is a wow factor here regarding human biology. Your scalp produces sebum, which is a natural oil. If you do not wash it away, it builds up and becomes a breeding ground for bacteria. For a guy bouncing around with high-energy 24/7 showers might have felt like a waste of time. But for the ladies trying to kiss him, it was a serious challenge. But he is not the only rock star who let his style get in the way of a bar of soap. The next artist on our list took fashion to a smelly extreme that you have to hear to believe. 2. Lenny Kravitz. When you think of cool, Lenny Kravitz is usually the first name that pops up. He has the sunglasses and the guitar and the leather pants. But those leather pants are exactly where the problem starts. You see, leather is a material that does not breathe. It traps heat and moisture against the skin. Now imagine wearing those same tight leather pants every single day for a month. That is not just a rumor. Lenny actually admitted in interviews that during his early days, he went 30 days without washing his body or changing his clothes. He was chasing a vibe. He wanted to be one with the music and nature. He called it being organic. But his co-stars and bandmates likely called it something else entirely. People describe the scent as oniony. That is a specific smell that comes from apocrine sweat glands. These are the glands in your armpits and groin. When that sweat hits bacteria on your skin, it produces sulfur compounds. That is what smells like onions. Now, trap that smell inside leather pants that have been baking in the sun and stage lights for a month. It is a recipe for a scent cloud that follows you everywhere. To put it mildly, Lenny was dedicated to his art. He believed that washing away his natural oils would wash away his mojo. What many overlook is that back in the day, rock and roll was supposed to be dirty. It was part of the image. But for the people who had to share a tour bus with him, it was a brutal reality. He eventually cleaned up his act as he got older. But those stories of the 30-day no-shower streak are legendary. It proves that even the most beautiful people can have some ugly habits. Speaking of hair and habits causing issues, our next rapper has a crown of dreads that holds more than just wisdom. 3. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne calls himself the best rapper alive. He has the hits and the money to prove it. But for a long time, whispers in the industry suggested that hygiene was not part of his daily routine. You have to understand the lifestyle of a superstar rapper. They are on tour buses for months. They perform on stages that are over 100 degrees Fahrenheit because of the lights. They sweat buckets. But rumors suggest Wayne was not hopping in the shower immediately after the show. Some sources say he would just change his shirt and keep it moving. When you have heavy dreadlocks and tattoos covering your skin, it can be hard to tell what is dirt and what is ink. But the nose knows. His heavy jewelry plays a part too. Just like with Flavor Flav, wearing pounds of metal around your neck traps sweat. It causes skin irritation and funky odors. Plus, Wayne is known for smoking a lot of different substances. The smoke clings to hair and clothes. It seeps into the pores. When you sweat, the smell of that smoke comes oozing back out. There is also the issue of dental hygiene. Wayne has a mouth full of diamonds. Those grills look expensive, but they are a nightmare to keep clean. Food and bacteria get trapped between the metal and the real tooth. If you do not take them out and scrub them constantly, it leads to serious bad breath. It is a high price to pay for looking flashy. Fans have reported getting close to him at meet and greets and catching a whiff that was less than pleasant. But Wayne is a rock star, and he lives by his own rules. However, the next comedian on our list has a personality so wild that his hygiene rumors are just the tip of the iceberg. 4. Cat Williams. Cat Williams is one of the funniest men in America. He is small, but he has huge energy. He runs across the stage and jumps and screams. That kind of physical comedy is a workout. He is basically doing cardio for an hour straight under hot lights. It is natural to sweat. It is natural to, but former members of his staff have come forward with some shocking allegations. They claim that Cat did not like to wash his clothes. He would allegedly wear the same outfit multiple days in a row. You see, fabric acts like a sponge. It absorbs sweat and skin cells. If you let it sit, the bacteria starts to multiply. After a day or two, the clothes start to smell worse than the person. The thing nobody tells you is that Cat lives a very fast life. He is always on the move. Sometimes basic things like laundry and showers get pushed to the bottom of the list. His erratic behavior has been well documented. There have been times where he looked disheveled in public. When a person is going through a lot of mental stress, hygiene is often the first thing to go. It is a sign that things are not right on the inside, but for a man who wears silk suits and velvet jackets, smelling fresh should be part of the package. Silk is a delicate fabric. It holds on to odors if it is not dry cleaned properly. There were stories of him smelling stale, like a room that has not had fresh air in years. It is a sad contrast to the sharp, witty man we see telling jokes. But fame is a heavy burden, and sometimes it crushes the simple habit of self-care. Speaking of child stars who struggle to grow up, the next actor fell from Disney fame into a very messy situation. 5. Orlando Brown. You remember him as the funny best friend on That Is So Raven. Orlando Brown was a Disney Channel staple. He was bright and talented. But in recent years, his life took a dark turn. The headlines have not been about his acting. They have been about his arrests and his public meltdowns. And with that chaos came reports of shockingly bad hygiene. During his most troubled times, Orlando was seen walking barefoot in the streets. His clothes were dirty and torn. People who encountered him said the smell was overpowering. It was the smell of neglect. When you are battling demons inside your head, taking a shower seems like an impossible task. There is a link between mental health and hygiene. Psychologists call it self-neglect. It is actually a symptom of deeper issues. Orlando was living out his struggles for the world to see. It was not just about being lazy. It was about being lost. Friends tried to intervene. They tried to help him get cleaned up. But in those moments, he pushed everyone away. The videos surfaced online showed a man who had completely let go. His teeth looked uncared for, and his skin looked rough. It was a visual representation of his internal pain. It is a grim reminder that fame does not protect you from hitting rock bottom. Hygiene is often the first signal that someone is in trouble. We can only hope he finds his way back to health, but our next singer had the world at his feet and faced a courtroom trial where his hygiene became a topic of legal testimony. 6. R. Kelly. This is a heavy one. R. Kelly was the king of R&B. He wrote songs that played at every wedding and party, but his personal life was filled with dark secrets. During his trials, disturbing details came out about how he lived, and part of that testimony involved his hygiene. Witnesses claimed that despite his wealth, he often smelled musty. There were reports that he would go long periods without properly grooming. It fits a pattern of controlling behavior. Sometimes people who want to control others stop caring about how they present themselves to the world. They think they are above the rules. But here is a wow factor regarding the science of scent. Scent is strongly linked to memory. For the people who testified against him, that smell is likely a trigger. It brings back bad memories instantly. The courtroom sketches could not capture the atmosphere, but the words of the victims painted a clear picture. He lived in a bubble where nobody could tell him he smelled bad. That is the danger of having too many yes men around you. If nobody hands you a stick of deodorant because they are afraid of you, the problem just gets worse. He had access to the best soaps and colognes money could buy. But soap only works if you use it. His decline from a superstar to a prisoner is one of the biggest falls in history. And these hygiene stories just add another layer of grime to his legacy. But he is not the only artist who let the rough lifestyle take over. The next rapper had a voice like a growling dog and habits that were just as wild. 7. DMX. DMX was raw energy. He barked and he prayed and he cried on stage. He was one of the most authentic rappers to ever live. But his life was a constant battle with hard times and substance struggles. There were periods where DMX did not have a permanent home. He was running the streets. When you are living that life, finding a shower is not always easy. Stories circulated from his inner circle that he would go days without washing. He was sweating out toxins from his body. His sweat had a different chemical composition because of what he was consuming. This is a scientific fact. When your liver is processing strong substances, it releases byproducts through your pores. Those byproducts have a very distinct and strong odor. Combine that with the fact that DMX loved dogs. He was always around them. If you have ever owned a big dog, you know they have a smell. Now imagine living in close quarters with several of them and not washing your clothes. He was a man of the people, and he did not care about being polished. He wore construction boots and rough denim. He wanted to feel gritty. But for the people interviewing him or working in the studio, the grit came with a scent that was hard to ignore. He tragically passed on, but he left a legacy of music that was 100% real. He never pretended to be a clean-cut corporate guy. He was the streets, and the streets do not smell like lavender. The next singer on our list was married to a pop queen, but his own habits were far from royalty. 8. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown was the bad boy of R&B. He was in New Edition, and then he went solo and took over the world. His stage presence was electric. He danced harder than anyone else. That running man dance move burns serious calories. It also produces serious sweat. In the 80s and 90s, rumors flew that Bobby was funky in more ways than one. During his marriage to Whitney Houston, the tabloids were obsessed with their chaotic lifestyle. Insiders claimed the mansion was a mess, and when the house is a mess, usually the people are too. There were stories about leftover food and clothes piled up everywhere, Bobby was known for partying for days at a time. When you are on a 3-day run, you are not stopping to exfoliate. You are wearing the same suit you went out in on Friday. By Sunday, that suit is a biological hazard. What many overlooked is that synthetic fabrics were huge in the 90s. Polyester suits look shiny, but they trap every bit of body odor. Bobby was sweating into plastic, basically. Once that smell sets in, it is nearly impossible to get out. His erratic behavior on reality TV later on showed a man who did not care what people thought. He would wake up on camera looking disheveled. It was honest, but it was also a bit gross. He has since calmed down, but his wild days are etched in history. Speaking of wild men, nobody was more feared than the heavyweight champion of the world. 9. Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson. The man was a machine in the ring. He knocked people out in seconds, but part of his strategy was intimidation. He wanted his opponents to be terrified before the bell even rang. And apparently his hygiene was part of that psychological warfare. Tyson admitted that during his intense training camps, he would sometimes skip showers. He wanted to feel like an animal. He said he wanted to smell like a predator. In the wild, predators use scent to mark territory and scare off rivals. Mike was tapping into that primal instinct. Imagine being in a clinch with the strongest man on the planet, and he smells feral. It is distracting. It throws you off your game. You want to get away from him, which is exactly what he wants. He uses fear as a weapon. Also, boxing gloves are notorious for smelling terrible. Hands sweat inside them, and they rarely get washed out properly. The bacteria grows inside the foam padding. After a few weeks, those gloves smell like rotting cheese. Mike was punching people with that bacteria every day. He has mellowed out a lot in recent years. He grows plants and talks about peace. But prime Mike Tyson was a force of nature who used every tool he had, including his own body odor, to dominate. Now let us look at an actor who hunted vampires but allegedly scared away his co-stars. 10. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is Blade. He is the daywalker. He looks cool in those sunglasses and the long trench coat, but word on the street is that filming with him was a challenge for the nose. Several industry sources have whispered that Wesley was not big on deodorant. Some people believe that. Deodorants contain harmful chemicals like aluminum. They choose to go natural for health reasons. Wesley is known for being very disciplined about his body and martial arts. It is possible he viewed antiperspirants as toxins blocking his pores. The problem is that filming a movie requires 12 to 14 hours on set. You are under massive lights that generate heat. You are doing stunts. You are wearing heavy tactical gear or leather costumes. If you do not have some kind of odor protection, things get sour very quickly. Co-stars have hinted that doing close-up scenes with him required holding their breath. It is a tough spot for an actor. You cannot tell the star of the movie that he smells. You just have to endure it. It creates a tension on set that the cameras do not see. The thing nobody tells you is that movie trailers are small. If a smelly actor has been sitting in there for an hour, the smell lingers. It is the unglamorous side of Hollywood magic. Speaking of leather suits and sweating, the next comedian is a legend who faced similar accusations early in his career. 11. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is comedy royalty. From Saturday Night Live to Beverly Hills Cop, he ruled the 80s. But early in his career, rumors circulated that he had a bit of a hygiene issue. Think about his famous stand-up specials like Delirious and Raw. What was he wearing? Tight leather suits. We have talked about leather before. It is the enemy of fresh air. Eddie was on stage for 90 minutes, performing high-energy comedy. He was sweating profusely. You can see the shine on his face in the videos. That sweat had nowhere to go. It just pooled inside that red and purple leather. Dressing room attendants from that era claimed his changing area was musty. It smells like a locker room. When you are young and famous and suddenly rich, sometimes nobody teaches you the basics of fabric care. You cannot just throw a leather suit in the washing machine. It needs special cleaning. If he was touring and doing a show every night, that suit probably did not get cleaned between cities. It just dried out and got put back on. That layers the bacteria. It is like wearing a petri dish. Eddie has denied these rumors over the years, and today he looks immaculate. But those early days of grinding on the road were sweaty and likely a bit smelly. It is the price of making the world laugh. Now let us move to a modern dancer and singer who leaves it all on the floor. 12. Chris Brown. Chris Brown is an incredible athlete. His dancing is on another level. He flips and spins and never stops moving. But that level of activity comes with a cost, sweat, and lots of it. Ex-girlfriends, including Karrueche Tran, have reportedly made comments about his hygiene habits. Some allegations suggested he was not great at showering after rehearsals. When you dance that hard, your body produces cortisol and adrenaline. This stress sweat smells different than regular heat sweat. It is more pungent because it contains more proteins and fatty acids. Bacteria on the skin love to eat those proteins. There were also rumors about his dental hygiene. Smoking is a habit Chris has struggled with publicly. We know that smoking dries out the mouth. Saliva is nature's way of cleaning teeth. When your mouth is dry, bacteria thrive and cause bad breath. Combine the smoke breath with the workout sweat, and it is a potent combination. Fans who have rushed him after concerts have mentioned he smells like a mix of expensive cologne and hard work. He tries to mask it, but biology always wins. He is still topping the charts, but these stories serve as a reminder. You can be a heartthrob and still have moments where you are not so fresh. The next rapper on our list became famous on the internet first, and his hygiene was roasted by the entire world. 13. Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy changed the game with YouTube. He was the first viral rapper. But being on the internet means people analyze every pixel of your life, and Soulja gave them plenty of ammunition. There were videos where his house looked like a disaster zone. We are talking about dirty dishes everywhere and clothes scattered on the floor. If your house is dirty, it is usually a sign that your personal hygiene is lacking too. Living in filth affects how you smell. The odors of the house attach to your clothes. Other rappers have feuded with him, and the first thing they attack is his hygiene. It is the easiest insult. They call him dirty. They say he needs a bath. While this might be just trash talk, the visual evidence of his messy home makes people believe it. Soulja also famously had rotten teeth at one point before he got them fixed. Bad teeth are a source of terrible smells. It is the smell of infection. He eventually spent thousands to get a perfect white smile. But the internet never forgets the before pictures. He is a millionaire who sometimes lives like a college student in a dorm. It is a clash of wealth and maturity. Money can buy a big house, but it cannot buy the discipline to clean it. Speaking of rappers facing accusations, our next artist is a female icon who had one specific nickname stick to her. 14. Trina. Trina is the Diamond Princess. She is known for being glamorous, but a few years ago a rumor started that shocked her fans. It was called the Trina Tuesday meme. People online claimed she had admitted to not showering every day while on tour. Touring is grueling. You are on a bus with limited water. The showers on tour buses are tiny and often have weak water pressure. Sometimes you are driving overnight to the next city and you just sleep in your bunk. It is not glamorous. Trina allegedly said she would just wash up at the sink sometimes. This is what used to be called a bird bath. While it is better than nothing, it is not a deep clean. When you are performing under hot lights in tight costumes, a bird bath might not cut it. The internet took this and ran with it. They made jokes about her hygiene that lasted for months. It shows how brutal social media can be. One comment can turn into a reputation. Trina has always maintained she is the baddest and cleanest. She posts pictures looking flawless. But that tour bus rumor is a reminder that the road life is dirty business, even for a princess. The next rapper had his hygiene brought up in actual divorce papers. 15. Young Jeezy. Young Jeezy is a trap music legend. He has a rasp in his voice that sounds like sandpaper, but his personal life got rough recently. During his divorce proceedings, some very personal details were leaked to the press. And yes, hygiene was mentioned. The allegations suggested that his partner was unhappy with his personal habits. It was cited as a contributing factor to the split. When hygiene makes it into legal documents, it is serious. It means it was a consistent problem, not just a one-time thing. We do not know the specifics, but usually this implies bad breath or lack of showering. Jeezy is a guy who prides himself on being cool. To have his dirty laundry aired out like this must have been embarrassing. But here is the thing. As people age, their body chemistry changes. What worked in your 20s might not work in your 40s. You might need a stronger soap or a better routine. If you do not adapt, you start to smell. Jeezy is now a single man again. Hopefully, he has updated his grooming routine to match his legendary status. Because nobody wants to date a legend if they cannot stand to be close to him. Speaking of the trap lifestyle, the pioneer of the genre has stories that are even wilder. 16. Gucci Mane. Before Gucci Mane went to prison and came out looking like a fitness model, he was living a very different life. The old Gucci was heavy and he was deep in the sauce. He was drinking lean and using substances heavily. He famously had an ice cream cone tattooed on his face. During this era, stories from the Atlanta music scene were wild. People said the trap house where he recorded was filthy. And if you are sleeping in a trap house, you are not focusing on hygiene. You are focusing on survival and making music. His belly was huge, which meant he had skin folds. Bacteria loves skin folds. It is dark and moist and warm. If you do not wash those areas thoroughly, you get fungal infections. They smell like yeast. Gucci was also known for wearing heavy jewelry and thick designer clothes in the Atlanta heat. Atlanta gets humid. That humidity makes sweat cling to you. It does not evaporate. It just sits there and ferments. The transformation of Gucci Mane is a miracle. He got sober, lost the weight, and now he looks like he smells like mint and money. But the legend of the old dirty Gucci is a cautionary tale of what that lifestyle does to a man. Now let us look at another Atlanta king whose family drama spilled the tea. 17. T.I. is the king of the South. He presents himself as a sophisticated man. He uses big words and wears nice hats. But during a very public rough patch in his marriage to Tiny, some secrets came out. In a leaked video from a sting operation and during arguments aired on their reality show, hints were dropped about bedroom issues. Tiny made comments that implied he was not always fresh. It was subtle shade, but fans picked up on it. When a couple has been together that long, the polite filters come off. If your husband smells, you tell him. T.I. has also spent time behind bars. Prison is a place where hygiene is difficult. You have limited supplies. You are living in a cage with other men. The smell of a cell block is a mix of steel, concrete, and body odor. It sticks to you even after you leave. There is a psychological aspect too. T.I. has always had a bit of an arrogance. Sometimes arrogant people think they do not need to try as hard. They think their natural scent is a gift, but biology disagrees. He seems to have repaired his marriage, but those clips live on the internet forever. It is a reminder that even kings need to scrub. The next rapper is part of a trio, and his famous wife had plenty to say about him. 18. Offset. Offset is 1/3 of the Migos. He is married to Cardi B, who is the queen of oversharing. Cardi has gone on Instagram Live many times to rant about her husband. In the heat of arguments, she has insulted everything about him. And yes, she has mentioned he smells. Now Cardi says a lot of things when she is angry. She hits below the belt. But usually insults have a grain of truth. She has complained about the smell of cigarettes and weed clinging to him. Offset is a heavy smoker. That stale smoke smell is hard to live with if you are not doing it yourself. She also mentioned him leaving clothes everywhere and not being tidy. We established that messy people are usually smelly people. Offset lives that rock star life. Late nights, clubs, and after parties. You come home at 6 a.m. and you just crash. You do not shower. Then you wake up at 2 p.m. and do it again. That is the cycle. After 3 days of that, you are a walking biohazard. Cardi is known for being obsessed with hygiene herself. She always looks polished. So the contrast between them probably caused friction. They seem to be back together for now, but the world knows that Offset might need a reminder to hop in the tub. Our next entry is a reality star who became famous for a tape and kept the drama going. 19. Ray. Ray J is famous for a lot of reasons. One of them is a very famous home video, Ushuaites with Kim Kardashian, but since then he has been a reality TV staple. On shows like Love and Hip Hop, his partners have thrown dirt on his name. Rumors have swirled that during his intimate moments, he gets very sweaty. That is normal, but the allegations claim he does not freshen up before or after. It is a matter of courtesy. If you are going to be close to someone, you should make sure you are clean. Ray J is also constantly working. He sells electronics, he makes music, he does TV. He is running around like crazy. That hustle leads to stress, sweat. Ray J has thick skin. He takes the jokes and keeps cashing checks. But maybe he should use some of that cash for a nice spa day. Finally, we have a man who has so many jobs and so many kids. It is a miracle he has time to breathe, let alone shower.